Alright, what's going on, boys and girls? So we are here with a new video. BS homeboy over here is back, and I got a feeling it's gonna be fucking so much more full of dumb again. But so unlike homie here, though, I wanted to explain this is being done on the MacBook Pro, and specifically only for one reason, and that is the webcam on the Lenovo Legion, which normally runs Salient OS, is down in the bottom of the frame, so I can't get a good enough picture to go with it. So that's why that's happening. So I'm like, homie, I actually used the shit, so let's see how unpopular his opinion is, i.e. how full of dump it will be this time.
I have done something I never thought I would do before, but on this USB stick I have installed a Linux distro. Yes, I know it may come as a betrayal to many of you, but after the last video I did about Linux in my unpopular
After the last video you did about Linux, it showed how fucking stupid you were.
opinion series, I decided to, why not? I never really tried it, let's actually try a Linux distro. So that's what we'll be doing in this video, as I, a lifelong Windows user, will finally be taking a ride today.
There's so many things I could say to finally taking a ride. Finally taking a ride on having some vagina ride on you, finally growing some facial hair, finally having your balls drop, finally actually having a clue what the fuck you're talking about. All things that you will finally, eventually, maybe, possibly never have. Oh, God.
Other side. Well, the third side, if you count macOS. So, first up, I needed some kind of good Linux distro that's feature-rich, really able to punch with the other heavyweights like Windows. And what many people recommended to me was Ubuntu. So that's what I have here, Ubuntu version 19.10. And it also comes with a very interesting feature that allows you to essentially load the OS from the USB and use the whole thing from the USB before you want to, install it or just forget about it like a really dark, traumatic experience. So that's cool, and that's what exactly.
Or you want to forget about it like a dark, traumatic experience, kind of like me watching your videos, because you even admit, after I did in this video, you even admit the last one that you had never used Linux, yet you try to speak about it with any type of certainty or fact. That just shows to me how fucking stupid you are.
Exactly what we'll be doing today. I'll be running it straight from the USB and seeing what it's like compared to good old-fashioned Windows 10. So, let's just go into it, I guess. I feel like I'll be releasing a demon almost when I plug this into my PC. It's almost a bit stressful,
Kind of like the whole video thus far makes me want to have my fucking ulcer take over, because the amount of fucking stupid. Dear God, get to the fucking point.
So the thing started up pretty fast, and I was greeted by this background of what looks like a ferret or a weasel or something like that, so that's something. However, one of the first things I actually noticed when I started this up is that for some reason, my mouse doesn't work. I plugged it in, so it's no longer wireless, and boom, it worked fine. So I'm not sure if it's, a problem of the whole thing coming off a USB stick and not being properly installed or what. And unlike with Windows, where the first thing you do is go and install Chrome, you have a semi-decent browser installed already, Firefox. It's no Chrome.
Chrome. Google.com/Chrome. You will get a deb, i.e. the Linux version of an exe. Double click on it, install it. Next, moronic comment. And I can already see, why are you going to OBS's website to download the TarGZ of OBS? If you have used computers of any shape or form in the last fucking 12 years, 2007, ever since app stores became a thing, there's this little icon on that bar, you dumb motherfucker, that looks like a shopping bag. Try clicking on it, and you'll actually get an app store, i.e. the Microsoft App Store, something similar, or the Apple App Store. Dumb shit.
But it's there. The first thing I tried to do is download OBS so I could record a screen for this video, but after scrolling down to the Linux section and seeing how there's lots of different commands you have to type, I kind of gave up there, and quickly discovered how the whole command line stereotype within Linux distros is kind of still true. What's also interesting is that you have a direct bookmark to Amazon on the left, which is kind of interesting. I mean, isn't the whole point of these alt hipster OSs to, you know, go against big tech instead of promoting it? It's kind of weird. It's a kind of
And no, it's not to go against big tech. It's about to have the control of what technology you actually decide to care about actually having or not. Not having it force-fed down your throat, i.e. Microsoft and its ads in the file browser, in your start menu, and every other place they decide to put ads. That's what it's all about.
a weird choice for the whole, you know, general vibe of Linux distros, but oh well. There's an app store filled with apps that with icons to look at everyone's first indie project. Instead of Word, we of course have LibreOffice, which I actually used before, but I didn't really remember much about, so I decided to.
So, as far as if you had actually taken 30 seconds, you stupid shit, and typed in OBS, you would download OBS and actually record this instead of recording it from a fucking phone or whatever angle you're using, you dipshit. Why is it technology? You remind me of mainstream tech, like the tech media. Full of dumb, don't know what the hell you're talking about, and the only hipster that is using stuff are the ones that try to pass off ignorance as knowledge. And you are so full of dumb. So full of ignorance. I don't know what hurts my head more.
Use it again, see what it's like, and its limitations compared to, you know, proper MS Office software were kind of still apparent. Maybe it's me just being used to Office, but everything was laid out very weirdly and crammed, and there are no separate little tabs for everything and controlling everything. I definitely had way less features than that, just on a quick look. LibreOffice, it's fine, I guess. Just to get yourself an audio player.
Look, if you want a junk ride from Microsoft, go right the hell ahead. That is what you're familiar with. Totally get that. Or you could actually take 30 seconds to become knowledgeable and get your head out of your ass. Or, I don't know. I would say your head's in your ass, but I don't know. All I'm going to say is, if you took 30 seconds to actually be knowledgeable about something, then I could take any of these videos a whole lot more seriously. The problem is, you show the amount of stupid you have just by every sentence you utter. So right now, my screen has been covered in shit because of what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, and the words that are typed to accompany this video. All came out of 12 different assholes from one person.
Which is nice, I guess. And for whatever reason, only 2 of my drives were actually visible inside the file explorer, whatever it's called in here. Only my 2 hard drives were there, not my NVMe SSD, which is kind of weird. At first I thought maybe it's because there's a version of Windows on it and it doesn't want to like potentially disrupt any Windows files, but there's also a Windows install on one of my hard drives, so it's like, why is that showing up? I mean, JPEGs work at least, so that's good, and all the files are accessible enough, and what's actually interesting is that if you open any Office files, it automatically transfers them into the LibreOffice equivalent, so that's good. And when scrolling through the file explorer, something dawned on me that I only realized at that point is that the whole UI reminded me a lot of macOS of all things. I'm not the biggest fan of macOS and I haven't used it too much, but it definitely reminded me a lot of what I remember of it. It was that really like chic, modern, minimalist look, for the lack of a better description. And I think the whole
for a lack of a better description, kind of like everything you do in video. You are nondescript, kind of like your personality, kind of like what you try to pass off as intelligence. Your NVMe drive was probably not detected because depending on how it's formatted. If it's using, I can't remember the exact ext, whatever the other version of the other file system that is mostly used for like SD cards and shit. If it's in that one, it probably won't detect it. NVMe drives are hit or miss. I'm not gonna lie. It could be a Windows thing. It could be a Linux thing. It could be a motherboard thing. I've never had issues with NVMe drives in Linux personally, so I can't speak to that.
Vaporwave weasel ferret thing as well just kind of shows that the whole feeling they're going for with this whole user interface, and it's not like I'm super against it, but oh well. So that's a fun experience. However, there's one thing it reaffirmed to me is that I will never be switching to Linux. There's just like no point. Like, it's way more competent than I ever imagined, but Windows still wins. In games, it definitely wins. In the overall quality, in the support, in the features.
You use this for a 6-minute video. I have a brilliant idea. Go watch a video series by Das Geek that is a 30-day Linux challenge from a hardcore, at the time, Windows user. And he used it for 30 days. And guess what? He is now a co-host or a co-owner, co-podcaster, whatever you want to say, of one of the biggest Linux networks for media. Ignorance is bliss in your case. Windows is bliss in your case. Stick to where your bliss is. Because apparently knowledge and seeking knowledge isn't your bliss. Because this video just reiterates my point that you are going to be where you are. And that you are not going to give something a fair shake by actually using it. So at the end of the day, why would anybody take your advice, your unpopular opinions, seriously? There's no use case as far as you're not using it, you're not attempting to use it, you have a preconceived notion, hence, even if you try to make a switch, you're going to fail. It just goes to show that you're a closed-minded idiot like every other tech moron out there that mostly claims to be in the tech journalism field. That you have your way of viewing things and that's the only way that works, and that everything else is subpar. Or if you actually take the time to look, use, and understand something, you might see it from a different angle. Because I've told people this before, the only angle you see is the one from your head being shoved up your ass and trying to peek at your penis, but that would require you to actually have a set of balls and a dick, other than you looking like a dick. Rant.
It just wins everywhere. So I still don't see the point of people using Linux or any Linux distro in a home environment where they use it instead of, Windows on a normal PC. So I still kind of see like that hipster OS I was talking about in my initial video about it, which, again, if you haven't watched it already, I recommend you do, it's up in iCards. Like, the only real benefit people can really say is that it's free, and even Windows is essentially that nowadays, and also that you get the, privacy or whatever, and honestly, who cares about.
I'm gonna let you finish that statement before I yell on the screen.
That as well, if you're, trying to be logical about it. That's another thing I made a whole unpopular opinions video about, so I recommend check out my video on privacy.
Privacy. It's not about privacy, you dumb shit. Will you please? Oh my god. My eyes want to bleed. My ears are filled with shit. Somebody get the fucking goddamn cement chisel so I can get the fucking stupid out of my ears now. It's not about privacy, it's about control. It's about you determining what you give and what you don't. You don't have that with Microsoft. You don't have that with Apple. End of story. You don't have that with Google. It's about determining what companies and where and how you give your data. That is what it boils down to. And if you're too blind, dumb, or stupid, I'm going to go probably with all three, to see that, then you should not be analyzing anything technology related. Keep to your opinion. Keep using what you do. That's totally fine. and leave the critical thinking and the ones that are actually open to trying technology without any preconceived notions to play with the technology, because you are the epitome of the end user that I generically try to not to make fun of, but you are the epitome of closed-minded idiots. You are like the music snobs. You know, metal elitists, hip-hop elitists, etc. If you approach technology just as those elitists approach music, you're no better than them. Fucking gatekeeping is stupid. Trying to actually find the pros and cons and stuff is what matters. Open-mindedness is key. You just don't have one. And I don't mean an open mind, I just mean a mind. There is literally nothing in between your ears other than air. There ain't no neurons firing, there ain't no synapses there. So, calling you brain dead would actually be accurate.
As well, if you want to learn more of my thoughts on that and how that's done, because like, who cares? And again, like I said in my original video, if you have a very specific use case, like a very specific programming rig or a server or something else, then you can use Linux distro. That makes sense. That is like the only place I can really see you making sense. On a normal PC like this, just be normal, just use Windows. But those are just some of my extended thoughts on Linux and Linux distros, I guess. Let me know what you thought of this video. Let me know why I'm an awful human being for labeling Linux as the hipster OS and whatever else. And if you want a good PC that runs a good and superior OS, like Windows 10, then I highly recommend checking out Advanced Systems. Because if you're based in the UK and need a PC, we're kind of the obvious choice, as we offer PCs at way lower prices for the same performance without sacrificing quality.
And there's the rub. There's the catch-22. There's the bullshit. There's the OEM. The upsell for support. Newsflash. You give your customer... That right there. That whole sales pitch wraps up this entire video and the perspective you come from. You're a Microsoft shop. You depend on Microsoft. End of the day. Your knowledge base is Microsoft. So it's not about hipster OSs. It's not about any of that. It's about the simple fact that you have a horse in the race. You have an upsell. You know, you're kind of like a lot of these other tech people. You have an upsell in this. You have a horse in the race. You have a reason to have your preferences and keep those preferences and undermine all the other preferences that are available. Mac OS, Linux, you know, prior versions of Windows. Take your pick. So, the only thing I'm going to ask you to upsell and try to gain is knowledge. And please, actually use the shit you talk about. Because you are the epitome of the reasons people are ignorant in computing. Unopen-minded. Now, that require a mind to begin with. You put your horse that you have in the race before other people's needs, wants, etc. when you make recommendations, because your horse is in the race, so you want to bet on your horse. Fucking give me a break. I'm not even going to finish out this video because it's bullshit. At the end of the day, you guys know what to do. Here's a reaction video. I told you why I'm using Mac. I told you why. I'm so done. Some of these videos just hurt my fucking head. So you guys know what to do. I'll talk to you later. Peace.